first and second automatically qualify for the quarterfinals and the World Cup, subsequent World Cup. But of course, we know Africa has been the number of teams representing Africa in the under-17 World Cup has been extended to 10. So 2 more teams will play in the World Cup. And the way CAF decide those teams are the third place teams, they're going to play a playoff. So the 4 third place teams will play a playoffs. That is Gambia, Uganda, Egypt, and Angola. These 4 teams finish third in their group. So there is a head-to-head. Like Gambia will play Uganda. I will get to that, and then Angola will play Egypt. So the winner of these 2 games, they will go to the World Cup and join the 8 teams that qualify for the quarterfinals. But yesterday, the under 17. They lost again after an impressive performance against Somalia. They lost 2-1 to Tunisia. It was a hard fought loss, I would say, because the kids, they fought hard. You have to say that the kids, they fought hard. They put in their efforts. They they gave 100%, 110%, if you like. They gave everything they had on that day. I think, again, similar to what I said in the game against Senegal, I think we lost this game again, not because of like talent, not because of hard work. We lost it because of we played against a team that was better coached than us. So that had a better structure than our team. I believe that was the case against Senegal. Individually, pound for pound, the players, I don't think neither Senegal nor Tunisia were better than the Gambia. This is my thing. At least this team we went with to the under-17 Africa Cup of Nations, like on the day, like the quality of players you see from both sides, I don't think Gambia was inferior to any of these 2 teams. But in terms of tactics, in terms of game management, in terms of structure, in terms of collectiveness as a team, like all these things, in terms of game understanding, I think we lost these games. So they were better structured, they were better coached, they had a better system, they understand their roles better on the pitch, and that is how we lost. But Gachengalama to the young Scorpions, to the baby Scorpions, I think they fought their hearts out, and with a little bit of help, I think they can make it. And it has been a very, very strange journey for this under-17 team. Let's recall back to the WAFU. The WAFU, we went all the way to 3rd place, and then we are not supposed to qualify for the Africa Cup of Nations. People like me were complaining that why do you even bother to play 3rd place when it has no meaning? Because at that time it has no meaning. And then eventually CAF decided to increase the number of teams in the competition. So Gambia had an opponent, and then Gambia have a spot, and then we come in. After coming in, play the group stages, and then we finish that. We are eliminated in the competition, but because the World Cup to have extended the number of teams, we have another opportunity. So we have another opportunity to play a playoffs for the World Cup qualifiers. If you look at the trend, like I have a feeling that this team will go to the World Cup. It is just by design that this team will go to the World Cup. I'm quite optimistic, and we're gonna play a very good team, Uganda. When I realized we're gonna play Uganda, and then I knew I was gonna come and record and talk about that, I decided to go and check what Uganda have been doing in this competition. Before today, I have not watched anything about Uganda. Looking at Uganda, I think it's not going to be an easy game. Uganda, they were in the group of the host, that is Morocco. They played Morocco, they played Tanzania, and then they played Zambia. So they finished third in that group. Similar to Gambia, they got 3 points. They got 1 win, and they lost the other 2 games in their group. They lost the first game 5-0 against Morocco, the host. Then they won 3-0 against Tanzania. Tanzania had a red card on that day, but also then they lost 2-1 against Zambia. But if you look at all the 3 games, one thing that stood out, the first thing I did was just to look at the numbers without even watching the game, watching the highlights, because I believe football is 2 things. Like you have the data side, and then you have the eye test side. So what you are seeing and what the numbers are saying. So those 2 things. So when you look at the numbers, like you'll be surprised. Why are this team losing these games? You look at their first game against Morocco. They mustered 16 shots in that game. Morocco only had 8 shots. And then Morocco scored from this. They scored 5 goals from those 8 shots. They scored 5. They had six shots on target. And then they scored 5 of those 6 shots on target. And Uganda, on the other hand, they had 16 shots and they did not get a goal. So looking at the numbers, you say, okay, Uganda created more chances, and that was the case. They created good chances against Morocco, but they did not score. Morocco were the Morocco as the host, and that maybe more clinical, and then they finished their chances. They won that one. Look at their second game to Tanzania. They completely dominated Tanzania. Yes, Tanzania got a red card in the end, which made it easier for them to dominate the game, but they won 3-0. And then the final game against Zambia was a very, very unlucky one. They completely dominated Zambia. They created the better chances. Zambia just score against the run of play. Against the run of play. If you see the goals Zambia score, like you'll be surprised. They could have defended those goals better. And they fought really hard, created the better chances in that one, but they ended up, that is football. Sometimes you are the better team and you don't win. So it's not going to be an easy game. This is what I want to put out there. They have been decent in this competition. Uganda have been decent in this competition. But again, Gambia, when you talk about Uganda, when you mention Senegal, when you mention Tunisia, Gambia will be, the big team there. And then you talk about this one like Somalia. Oh, Gambia should win this team. That is how the perception we have, which is a football kind of fan perception. And I understand that Uganda is not a powerhouse in African football. Yeah, it's not a powerhouse in football in general. So it's difficult to even mention a Ugandan player. For me personally, I don't know. But that is not like I'm not disrespecting the country, but that is what from my perspective, I don't know much about their football. So from the little I see in this competition, they have been decent, and we have to take notice of that. If we want to qualify for the World Cup, we have to work really hard on that day. But I believe if the kids put in the hard work that they have played so far in this competition, from against Senegal, against Somalia, and yesterday against Tunisia, I think we have a chance. With the help of the coach, I think we should be able to win against this team, Uganda.